Have you ever noticed how many Asian grandparents stay slim for most of their lives? No diets, no gym memberships, no calorie counting, and yet many remain healthy and lean well into their 70s, 80s, and even 90s. Meanwhile, millions of Americans spend years trying to lose weight. So what was their secret? It wasn't a miracle food. It wasn't a special supplement. It was a handful of simple habits repeated every single day. And once you understand these habits, you may realize that staying thin was never about dieting at all. Part 1. Food was never taken for granted. To understand why many Asian grandparents stayed thin, you first have to understand the world they grew up in. For many Americans today, food is everywhere. You can order almost anything you want at any hour of the day. If you feel bored, stressed, or tired, food is always close by. But for many Asian grandparents, life was very different. Many grew up during war. Others lived through poverty. Some experienced periods when food was scarce. In those years, every meal mattered. Every grain of rice mattered. Every leftover was saved. Children were taught to appreciate what they had. If there was food on the table, you ate with gratitude. You didn't waste it. You didn't complain. And you certainly didn't eat more than you needed. Food was not entertainment. It was survival. It was nourishment. It was a blessing. Imagine a grandmother in rural China in the 1950s. She wakes before sunrise. She works in the fields. Breakfast is a small bowl of rice porridge and pickled vegetables. Simple, plain, but enough to fuel the morning. Or imagine a grandfather in Korea after the war. His meal might consist of rice, soup, and a few side dishes. No oversized portions, no sugary snacks, no eating just because he felt bored. These habits became deeply ingrained. Even after life improved, many older people continued eating the same way because discipline had become second nature. And that mindset may be one of the biggest reasons they stayed lean. Part 2. They ate until 80% full. In Okinawa, Japan, there is a famous phrase, hara hachi bu. It means eat until you are 80% full. In other words, stop eating before you feel stuffed. This simple principle has been practiced for generations, and it may be one of the most effective habits for maintaining a healthy weight. Many Asian grandparents didn't need to count calories. They simply stopped when they felt satisfied. Not full, not uncomfortable, just satisfied. This sounds simple, but it requires paying attention. Older generations ate slowly. Meals were not rushed. They sat at the table. They chewed carefully. They talked with family. They used smaller bowls. They used chopsticks, which naturally slowed the pace of eating. By the time the meal ended, their bodies had time to register fullness. Modern eating often works very differently. People eat in the car, in front of the television, while scrolling on their phones. They eat quickly and mindlessly. And by the time the brain catches up, they've already overeaten. Asian grandparents often stood up from the table feeling light, comfortable, and ready to continue with the day. That small difference, repeated thousands of times over a lifetime, can have a profound effect. Part 3. Their meals were simple and balanced. Traditional Asian meals were remarkably balanced, not because someone designed a perfect nutrition plan, but because this was simply how families ate. A typical meal might include a bowl of rice, several vegetable dishes, a warm soup, fish, tofu, or eggs, fermented foods like kimchi or pickles, tea. Notice what's missing. Huge portions, heavy desserts, sugary drinks. Most of the plate was made up of vegetables and grains. Meat was often used in small amounts to add flavor rather than dominate the meal. A few slices of pork might season an entire dish. A small piece of fish was enough. Soup played an important role. Warm broth slows down eating and helps people feel satisfied. Fermented foods added strong flavor without requiring rich sauces. These meals were high in fiber and nutrients. They were filling but not excessive. And because they were prepared at home, families controlled the ingredients and portion sizes naturally. No one needed to diet. The food itself encouraged moderation. Part 4. They rarely snacked. One of the biggest differences between traditional and modern eating is snacking. Many Asian grandparents simply did not snack very often. They ate breakfast, lunch, dinner, and that was usually enough. If they felt hungry between meals, they waited. There were no vending machines, no bags of chips, no sugary lattes, no late-night desserts every evening. Food was tied to meal times. Today, many people consume hundreds of extra calories without realizing it. A muffin with coffee, a handful of nuts, a cookie, a soda, a bowl of ice cream after dinner. Each item may seem small, but over time, these extras add up. Older generations avoided much of this entirely, and that made it much easier to maintain a healthy weight. Part 5. They walked every day. Many Asian grandparents never belonged to a gym, but they were rarely sedentary. Walking was simply part of life. They walked to the market, to school, to work, to visit neighbors, to the temple or park. They climbed stairs. They gardened. They swept floors by hand. They carried groceries. They remained active throughout the day. In many cultures, it is common to take a short walk after meals. This habit helps digestion and can improve blood sugar control. In China, morning parks are filled with older adults walking, stretching, and practicing Tai Chi. In Japan, many elders walk daily well into old age. In Korea and Vietnam, active living remains deeply woven into everyday life. The key wasn't intense exercise, it was consistency. Movement was not a chore, it was a normal part of living. Part 6. They drank tea instead of calories. Many Asian grandparents drank green tea, jasmine tea, oolong tea, barley tea, plain hot water. These drinks contain little or no sugar. Compare that to many modern beverages: soda, sweetened coffee drinks, bottled juices, energy drinks. Liquid calories are one of the easiest ways to gain weight. They add energy without creating much fullness. Tea offers something very different: warmth, hydration, a sense of calm. And for many elders, tea was a daily ritual, a chance to pause, to reflect, to avoid unnecessary snacking. Sometimes the healthiest habit is simply replacing one drink with another. Part 7. They ate home-cooked food most of the time. Restaurant food is often designed to be irresistible. Larger portions, more sugar, more salt, more oil. Traditional Asian grandparents ate home-cooked meals most of the time. Home cooking gave them control over ingredients and portions. Meals were simple, predictable, and based on familiar ingredients. There was less temptation to overeat, and because cooking was part of everyday life, healthy eating became automatic. Part 8. They didn't eat for comfort. Today, many people eat for reasons that have nothing to do with hunger: stress, loneliness, boredom, celebration, sadness. Food becomes a coping mechanism. Many older Asian generations had a different relationship with food. They found comfort in family, work, faith, routine, community. Food was appreciated, but it wasn't the solution to every emotional need. That healthier relationship made overeating less likely. Part 9. They lived with routine and discipline. Many Asian grandparents followed structured daily routines. They woke up early, ate at regular times, stayed active, went to bed on time. This consistency helped regulate appetite, sleep, and energy levels. Modern life is often chaotic. Irregular schedules, late-night eating, poor sleep, constant stimulation. Routine may seem simple, but over decades, it becomes powerful, and older generations understood that. Conclusion: Asian grandparents did not stay thin because they discovered a miracle diet. They stayed thin because they practiced small habits consistently for decades. They ate until they were satisfied, cooked simple meals, snacked less, walked every day, drank tea, followed routines, respected food. No gimmicks, no expensive supplements, no complicated plans, just ordinary habits repeated over a lifetime. And perhaps that is the real secret. The healthiest lifestyle is often the simplest one, and sometimes the wisdom we need most has been sitting quietly with our grandparents all along.